Hello lads and ladies, welcome finally to another tattoo story time. Today we are going to be focusing on my arm, my sleeve tattoo. You get a better closer look at it now. I actually quite like how it really fits in with the other tattoos, how it really fills in. Now this area here I couldn't actually fill in because one, I'd already had enough with the tattoo session already as it was, since he really screwed up my wrist. I'll talk about that in a bit, but yeah, what he was going to do was just fill in like these small little gaps with like little tints of blue, and I think that would just look stupid. I think kind of like what he did with like well, not this one per se, I'd say this one, like how you can kind of see like there are these little, this one here, these little gaps of blue that he put in here and there. I mean, it looks alright with like some parts of the cloud of the lining going over on it, but honestly, I didn't want that for this bit. I kind of like the idea of Rin's like hair free flowing as it is. If he put like any blue bits in it, it would just make it look kind of void in a certain sense. Rest of the tattoo really looks nice. I actually quite like how it makes Deepa's portrait looks more profound. Like you really see what he is like in front of the entire clouds. The reason I went with the colour blue, well, sky's blue, and obviously sooner or later I want to try and get reds on my other arm, and then maybe I might probably do green on this arm here and maybe yellow up here as kind of a representation of the Hogwarts houses. You know, I've always been a big fan of Harry Potter, so maybe that might look good. You know, it might look good, but I might have to calm down on like half sleeves for a while because of, yes, this little bugger here, that little thing there. When he put the tattoo gun into the wrist area, I knew I was in for a rough time, because normally when you see plasma come out, that's fine, it's perfectly fine when you're tattooing, you know. But when it's just straight up blood, you know you've gone too deep. And he really went too deep on this. This took about, it's been about roughly, what, 11 some odd days since I got it. And it's healing a little bit more better now, but the wrist is still taking a while to heal, and that's a bit worrying to me. Which is why I went to go to my pharmacist. I asked him, could you check if there's an infection, because like the wrist area is really like cramped, you know, it's not, I can't move it in a certain direction. Like I could move it, but I had some trouble with it. I thought, oh, it's just because of the tattoo. No, it was because there was an infection. Like with this thing, this was a very big open wound. It's finally closed over now. I mean, it might not look it, but it is somewhat closed and scabbed. But yes, it was my first tattoo infection. I was quite surprised when I got it, because the place I go to, they rarely have anything like this. You know, so I don't blame the tattoo artist or anything like that. He did a brilliant job. He always had used clean equipment. His gloves were always like replaced after a certain period. He always washed his stuff and all that. No problem with that. An infection can happen any way, shape or form. I believe it mostly happened due to the fact that when he went too deep, it caused the wound to open up a little bit more than usual. So that would have took longer to heal. And because I like to take my wraps off in the first like 2.5 days, something like that, normally you're meant to keep it on for 3 or sometimes a week, it depends on the person. For me, my body heals quite quickly when it comes to like trauma, or when it comes to skin of the tattoo. So I only take it off like after 2.5 days, because if I leave it on for more, it really starts to stick to the skin. And I know you're just meant to wash it to get it off, but I feel like if it sticks to the skin and you don't let air breathe to the area, it can cause it to scab more, and you really need to get moisture into that area sooner or later to make it really heal an awful lot better at a certain point. But yeah, with my situation, I didn't know the severity of how much my wrist was bleeding or how deep the cut was, so I guess that was the main open wound that was allowing the infection to get into it, basically. I mean, I'm not really upset because it's a damn good tattoo. I love it. I absolutely love the tattoo, even like with a little bit of redness here from the infection. I mean, this is an infection. This is just like bruising basically from the tattoo and all that. and this area here is still on the way to healing. I think it'll take maybe another week or so for that to go down and finally gloss over. But once it's all ready and healed, this is going to look really beautiful. It already looks beautiful. I love the look of it. I really like how it actually goes up the wrist area. It kind of feels like I've got a proper sleeve going all the way around my arm and here and there. I kind of hoped he would do this little area here, but honestly, this would hurt like a bitch, I think. I think the worst area of it was this, because when he did this area, it was way too deep, and there are so many nerves within the wrist area that it was almost as painful as doing my palm, basically, because they're just so concentrated in that area, basically. Now what I want to do later on is probably go up my arm, have it go all the way up here in a certain sense. I don't know whether or not to keep it in blue or change the colour. I might change the colour just because I really want to keep intact of like the differentiality, but also the synchronicity that it can give off, which is why I wanted either green or red to go up here. I might do green just because it gels well with the blue, and I might put yellow here, maybe golden brownish yellow with the dark scarlet and gold red on my other arm here. I'm going to wait for the trauma of this to go down first because, yeah, the infection was pretty bad. It says something when you can't move your wrist like at a certain angle for too much. So I consulted my doctor. They prescribed me some antibiotics. It was the first time I ever took penicillin. It's probably the most disgusting bit of medicine I've ever tasted in my entire life. But the interesting thing with it is I only needed to take like 4 tablets a day, spread them out. Oh god, it was awful. I left one of the tablets in my mouth for too long. You're meant to just put it in and swallow it. They're capsules, you see. So when I left it in my mouth too long, it kind of like bursted open. I knew I had to swallow this or otherwise I'm never going to get it down my throat. I swallowed it and I felt immediately sick. Like I really wanted to reach. I waited as long as I could. I like waited a minute or so until I couldn't do it anymore. I had to vomit. I upchucked. I don't think I managed to get the whole tablet down, but it's alright. That was the one and only time that I threw up, and the rest of the times it was pretty easy. You just take the capsule and then swallow it. But yeah, you don't want to leave it in your mouth for too long because it's difficult taking a tablet that's a little bit too big. It was like 500 milligrams or something like that. These are very big tablets. I mean, they're thin, but they're still big in a certain degree. So swallowing them is kind of like against your nature because normally your instinct is to chew something. And with these tablets, you're meant to swallow them whole, basically. You don't want to open the powder up as well. That shit is meant for your like digestive system. It's meant to then spread it into your immune system and so on and so forth. And the thing with the antibiotics, even though my arm was starting to heal at that point, I couldn't stop taking them. I had to take them all the way up till last night. Last night was the last tablet I had. I can already tell the difference that I'm no longer like chesty. You know, I'm not having any symptoms of flu. There was no fever after like the second day or so. My arm was burning. Like I knew that I was infected when my arm was really burning. Like if I put my hand on my arm here, it was much colder. Like it was much cooler than this side. It was really freaking burning. So I knew that something was amiss, basically. Thankfully, the tattoo itself hasn't really been scarred. Like normally with infections like that, sometimes they can cause blotches or like bulbs of like infected like blood and plasma and stuff like that. Thankfully, it didn't progress that far. The only bad part of it is the wrist, and I think this area here. I'll have to look at the rest of it once it fully heals, but honestly, I can probably just get this bit patched in no problem, or I might just leave it as a sign of like, you know, my heroism. Who knows? But yeah, that's fine, honestly. I don't blame my tattoo artist. Infection can arise from anything. I think what happened is that when I took it off too early and then I slept in my bed, maybe I rolled on it, or maybe like as I rolled, I might have like took one of the scabs off as I moved my arm. Because when you sleep in bed, you don't know exactly what you're doing. You know, you might be like it's like with sleepwalkers. They don't know they might be going around like driving cars and stuff like that. Who knows? Maybe I got out of bed and did quadruple backflips and didn't even realise it and caught my scab on a wall or something. But Probably not most. That's probably not likely, but you know what I mean. It's just unfortunate thing arises when you have infections, but thankfully mine hasn't been so scarred. Like the wrist is probably the worst of it, really. So I'm quite thankful that the tattoo itself has been intact overall, basically. So that doesn't like unheed me from going back to getting tattoos. I'm just gonna have to take some time to wait for this to heal to then get either my leg or my arms done, because you know, for an infection like that you kind of need to let the body heal. You gotta let the body like pace itself, you know, because if you put your body through too much trauma, it can cause a sickness basically within you. It can cause your immune system to crash, which is why you have to take months in breaks if you do tattoos. It's like chaps who do like back pieces and chest pieces, you know, you have to do these things like daily but spread them out weekly if you have the opportunity. Unfortunately with someone like me is that I just want to get it done on the day, and you know, I don't want to prolong the process. So I'll say to my tattoo artist, like, if you can get it done today, get it done today, you know. So that might cause a little bit of quickness, a little bit of mistakes made here and there, but it's fine. They can always just fix it with a touch up, so that's fine basically. You know, I'm not one for like prolonging the torture and process basically when it comes to tattooing. Like, I love my art, I love my tattoos and all that, and I love the experience with my tattoo artist, but getting the tattoos is still one that I'm kind of sick of, really. I'm kind of sick of the pain, which is why I want to focus more on using numbing cream. It didn't work this time because I didn't use enough. Apparently you're meant to use the whole tube, so that was bad on my part basically. But yeah, the reasoning behind the clouds, I think I really wanted something that would gel well with my other tattoos to make them pop. And Brian, bless him, he showed me some designs of some Japanese style clouds that really popped in my mind, and I really wanted something beautiful as the background, so I wanted to go with light turquoise blue, mostly due to the fact that it's my mother's birthstone basically, but also due to the fact that it's just a very beautiful color. Like with my Bloodborne tattoo here, it's just a beautiful blue. It looks really good on like pale skin, like for mine. So yeah, I'm glad I got this done. I have no regrets about the infection. The infections are like, on a rare case, they do happen rarely, you know, but I think it only happened this time because of the severity of the wound on my wrist, basically. But the reason he had to go hard like that was because it was not taking. The blue is so hard to get into the skin, so he had to really dig it into the bone and the muscle, basically. So I don't blame him for that. He got most of the blue into it, but now by the looks of it, it's probably not going to have any blue in there because of the infection. Well, you know, old infection, but it's whatever, basically. You know, you got to do what you got to do to get the job done, basically. But infection's cleared up. I'm getting through it, and yeah, that's my half sleeve done. Sooner or later, I'll be getting another tattoo. Hopefully, maybe within 3 or 4 weeks. I've got to let my body rest after all that trauma and shit and that infection. But yeah, I think I'll focus on my leg next. I'm probably going to get the 3 lions with the crown for the cricket team. The boys in the T20 just came back recently with a brilliant win against New Zealand, so they're still in for a chance of the World Cup. They just need to beat Australia's run rate and then also win next week's game against Sri Lanka. So, very tough ask. Sri Lanka are a very good side, but New Zealand were on top and we were able to beat them by 20 odd runs. So, I have faith in our boys. I really do have faith in our boys. And then I'll probably focus on getting the Ella Mobs Cup as well on my leg. And then I'll probably finish that off with some backgrounds, like filling, like some filler for the background. I don't know whether to go full black and grey or maybe add colour. I might maybe switch one of the colours from my arm to my leg, who knows? Maybe I might put the yellow gold around my right leg, or maybe the red and scarlet. You know, the scarlet and gold, or possibly the green. I'm not so sure yet, because I honestly want to see what this would look like if I added green and blue together on this arm. I'll see. Or maybe I'll just get it on both, who knows. But it'll be interesting nonetheless. My tattoo story for the full body suit is continuing on, and it's going to get even hairier as the years go on. I'm really not looking forward to the knee or elbow or anything like that, because those are spicy areas. especially the inner bicep. I need to get the inner bicep done sooner or later, otherwise I'm just going to talk myself out of it. I don't know about the throat. I might probably get the throat done if I have the opportunity. It's just this Adam's apple area here that is not nice. That is not nice to do. So we'll probably work our way inwards to it. We'll see. I've also got to get my chest done. I might need to talk about one of the tattoos that have unfortunately faded. I wish I kind of showed this tattoo off to you when it was in its prime, but the way it is now, it's really not looking as pristine as I wished it was, basically, when I was younger. But that's for another time. So yes, after the clean bill of health that I've given myself, after the amount of antibiotics that I've been taking, I should be okay for the next week or so. Hopefully when this heals up, I'll show it off again to you guys, and it'll really, really, I hope the wrist retains some of the colour, because honestly that is probably the most irritated area when it came to the infection, so hopefully that should be okay in a while or two. So with that, lads and ladies, I thank you ever so much for watching another one of my videos. Sorry for the lighting, I have to put the light on because it's completely dark outside, it's raining, it's cloudy, it's horrible, so I've got no natural lighting, I'm afraid. I can only apologise for that, sorry lads and ladies. I'll probably focus on a gameplay thing for you guys sooner or later. And then we've got the semi-finals coming up on Saturday well, I think it's just Saturday. We've got the 2 semi-finals, and then next week we'll have the final for the Rugby World Cup for the women in 2022. And yes, if you're wondering, it's 2022 for the year, because the search for 2022 is much better than someone who puts it in for 2021, even though it is the 2021 World Cup. You know what I mean? So it's just less confusing for people. So that's why I'd put 2022 rather than 2021. So just makes it easier for everyone to find it. So with that, lads and ladies, I thank you ever so much for watching another one of my videos, and yeah, I'll keep you updated on the health of my arm, and hopefully the tattoo will start to look lovely when it starts to heal up a little bit more better. Give it a week or so. Alright, take care my friends, I'll see you on whatever I do next round here. Bye guys.